Uh, I'm Dan. I'm Dan Feshbach, and I am the founder and board chair of Multiple. And really excited to have you today to join me and Kevin uh, and Vijay to uh, to really introduce Floreo, which is really a leading platform for VR. It's not just a VR product. So I want to make a couple introductions. First, I want to introduce our new CEO, Kevin O'Rourke, who's joining us. He's been 2 months in the duty. He comes to us from Together International or 2GI, which is it is really the leading accelerator for the disabled and neurodiverse founders. Some of our founders have gone through our accelerator and the 2GI. So Kevin has launched 2 months ago and is really leading some transformation of Multiple into what we're calling Multiple 2.0. So, and then there's Vijay Ravindran, who I've known for 7 years at least, maybe 8. We started our journey. In other words, the Multiple journey and the Floreo journey kind of started at the same time. Vijay is bringing some amazing background to our community. Now he's fully engaged and embraced by this community. And Floreo, which is really inspired by work he did with his son, has now become a leading platform for delivering delivering therapy in a kind of way that traditional therapists cannot do. It cannot deliver the lessons or the therapeutic experiences, nor capture the data that the Floreo platform can. So it's really become a go-to tool or go-to platform for clinicians and schools and parents. So, and I also would note that Vijay has the grit and the leadership that really is a great example for all the autism founders who are in the audience. And the reason that I say that is when we first met, basically VR would never happen. VR was just a science experiment and was never going to be embraced. And of course, the autism market and the neurodivergent market were way too small, not really worth even going after. And the challenges went on. So I won't go down too far down that path, but the exciting thing is that Vijay has not only persisted himself, but surrounded himself with a team and talent and support, and the leading investors in the space have backed his business. And it's been a great journey, and I love their I don't know if you call it slogan, but practice in VR and grow in real life. That really just gets right to the heart of the matter. So I'd love to looking forward to the whole event, and Kevin, you take it from here, okay?
Will do. Thanks for kicking us off, Dan. I appreciate it. I'm super excited to be here, just a part of Multiple and the event. So, but I'll keep my piece brief because this is not the focal point. Very quickly, if you're not familiar with Multiple, at our core, Multiple is a startup accelerator specifically built for autism technology. And if you aren't familiar with what a startup accelerator is, essentially our job is to find the most promising companies in this space, take them through a 12-week boot camp that helps them find customers, helps them with go-to-market, helps them with fundraising, really everything to hit their next milestone so they can go on and impact even more people with their tech. And so as you can imagine, not only finding those great companies is part of our mission, we also want to spotlight the most promising companies as well, which is really what we're doing today. We have a front row seat at all of the groundbreaking technology that's getting built. And these events are our way of really pulling back the curtain and letting you experience and see what's going on firsthand. So today I'm super excited that we get to feature Floreo, a virtual reality platform designed to support the neurodiverse population with developing social skills, behavioral skills, life skills. And so we've got Vijay here with us, and I won't steal any thunder, but I'm really excited. And Vijay, I'm going to turn it over to you so you can give us a deeper look at what Floreo is all about.
Awesome. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Dan, multiple team. It's great to be here and talk to the group. You know, Dan was an invaluable advisor in 2017 when I was getting this company off the ground. I feel Multiple has his best qualities infused in it, and a team and a network of mentors. So I wish Multiple was around when I was getting started. I'm glad it exists now for the next generation of founders. So people should check it out. And I'm proud to be a mentor as part of the network. My name is Vijay Ravindran. I'm the CEO and founder at Floreo. Quick background on myself: a software engineer, early engineer at Amazon, joining in 1998, right after the music tab was added to books. I was there for 7 years. I led a large part of the engineering and product teams of the early days. So things like shopping cart, checkout, your account reported to me. And in that role, I also led the launch of Amazon Prime. More recently, I was the chief digital officer of the Washington Post. And while at the Washington Post, this story really starts because my most important characteristic for this journey is that I'm a parent of a child on the autism spectrum and have seen my son go through thousands of hours of therapy to help him with his social and communication needs. As I was exploring new technology in late 2015, I was trying out a developer kit for a virtual reality headset from Oculus, now owned by Meta and known as the Meta Quest. And my son wanted to try it out. And an amazing thing happened. After 30 minutes in VR, his engagement to the experiences he had just gone through, dinosaur experience, an experience with car traffic, and how he then played with toys and interacted afterwards and display skills, lit this idea that virtual reality could be a next generation medium for therapy for children like him, using the power of immersive content to create repeatable practice environments so that we could work on important social and life skills. This company started in my basement, and I brought in a talented therapist, developmental pediatrician, engineer, to start building that first version of what this could look like in 2016. And in 2017 started a founder's journey. It included coming up with a name. The name Floreo is from the Latin for the word flourish or blossom. And it's part of that motto that for every child, we want to raise the ceiling and create the highest potential possible, allow them to flourish. The Floreo system, which you're going to see a video of later in this program, really starts with immersive virtual reality and a growing set of content that is clinically designed to help with social and life skills development. The learner, the child or adult who's neurodiverse, wears the virtual reality headset to experience it, while a supervising adult is able to play a coaching role, seeing what they're seeing, being able to help them and give live coaching, record key data, and to be able to do that both in person or over telehealth. And so we're really proud of the system. We have great research supporting it that my colleague Shirley MacParisi is going to be sharing at the end of this program. And we're going after doing it the right way with research, where we have a designation from the FDA called FDA Breakthrough Designation, and we're engaged in significant research to reach full market clearance as an FDA product. We have great investors that include some of the leading investors supporting the neurodiverse community and autism specifically, the Autism Impact Fund, the Disability Opportunity Fund, Divergent Ventures. We also have a large group of angels, people like me who have a family connection to autism, a desire to see what the next generation of therapy could look like, to raise the bar on the standard of care and raise the potential of every child. And so we have information in the event hub for those interested in learning more. You can email us at investors@floreovr.com on that front. But most importantly, we've had very engaged customers using our current product on the market. Talented clinicians, special educators, and parents are using Floreo today to bring the best out of their kids. And so we have an exciting lineup of three such people, and many of them, like them, have helped shape this system. The Floreo catalog is 95% built off of the feedback of people using it and understanding that once you see what's powerful about virtual reality and teaching this population, the sky's the limit, and we can start thinking about the things that are most challenging to teach in our community. So to lead things off, we have Heidi Bruckman, who's at the New York City Autism Charter School. She's a clinical supervisor, and she's going to be sharing her experience with Floreo. So we're really excited to hear her thoughts. Heidi?
Hi. Thank you so much for asking me to be here today about my experience working with Floreo. So yeah, my name is Heidi, and I am a clinical supervisor at a charter school in the Bronx. So for a little bit of history about who our school is, we are the first public charter schools in New York State, exclusively for children with autism. And we provide a specialized, no-cost education using principles of applied behavior analysis in a primarily one-to-one teacher-to-student ratio. We serve communities in East Harlem and in the South Bronx with programs that really work to foster social skills, community integration, and job readiness skills. And our entire aim is to empower students with autism and support families across New York City, particularly in neighborhoods and communities in need of autism-specific resources and supports. In both of our neighborhoods and communities, our families often face considerable socioeconomic challenges, which are challenges that can become even more heightened when a diagnosis of autism is involved. So we are really dedicated to serving the families in our local communities, and our admissions policy actually gives preference to children and families living within our community school district. So we really try and support, our own backyard. So for a little bit about my classroom and who's been using Floreo, I'm in my 9th school year here, and I am the clinical supervisor and head teacher of a reduced ratio classroom. So we have an 8:1 to 4 ratio, meaning 8 students, 1 certified special education teacher, who's me, and then 4 instructors. And while my school primarily serves students on the more significantly impacted end of the spectrum, who really aren't as represented in a more typical educational setting, my classroom is kind of like a little unicorn in our school of students with slightly more sophisticated language, social, and academic skills who are really working on foundational skills and self-regulation skills through adaptive behavior to be able to move on to a less restrictive environment once they've spent some time with us. So the intersection of my class and all the things that Floreo is targeting for teaching has been really, really cool to see. So my students are incredible. They are my favorite people to spend my day with. However, they have a lot of challenges in their day-to-day lives. So developing these skills around social interaction and communication and community-based skills that can't be directly practiced in a school setting, but are imperative for safety, are really critical, but difficult for these kiddos to acquire in our really contained space. So this is where Floreo has come in to save us. It's been so cool. So I've been piloting the use of Floreo since the summer. And when I was asked to try out the technology with my class, I was nervous. I am not a person who knows a lot about the world of VR and have maybe played Fruit Ninja like one time on a friend's VR. And then I had to pass it off because I did not know what I was doing. But after experiencing Floreo, I'm not only nerve-free, but thrilled to keep engaging with this technology and harnessing it to help my students grow and participate in their community. So I primarily use it in social skills groups and quickly saw not only the value of the lessons, but also it as like a fun experience for students to see animals underwater or lions or things that they might not have experienced before. So, like I said, a few other classes at my school are probing the use of Floreo, but those are classrooms with our students who are more significantly impacted and might not have some of the language skills as necessary to benefit from all of the lessons. But in my reduced ratio room, we are using it. So, um, I've definitely seen an increase in behavior in our actual day-to-day through the virtual practice. They're so excited, and this generalization of skills is really cool. So I'd love to just share a few student-specific stories because I feel like that's the most fun part about the specific skills we've been working on. So over the summer, I was working with a group of two students who were 9 and 10 who were preparing to transition to a less restrictive environment in September. So summer was really our graduation boot camp, and we were getting in all of the skills that they were going to need to practice in a new setting that wouldn't be as, safe bubble contained as this really, really special school that we have. So a lot of those skills were really hard to contrive, but incredibly important. For example, we don't have a cafeteria where students can practice initiating or joining in on an ongoing conversation, but Floreo has that. We don't have a hallway full of socially motivated students who independently greet one another in either friendly or unfriendly ways that you would need to differentiate how to respond. Floreo has that. And we also don't have a large group of students who can initiate, maintain, and expand on a wide variety of conversational topics independently without significantly scaffolded supports. And Floreo has that. So I've been able to remove myself from explaining or coaching two students through an interaction together where neither is really getting the full piece of what they need from learning those social skills, and instead introduce my students to other students like Ayana and Alejandro in the Floreo world, who can teach my students in a way that I can't. So with these two boys, I focused primarily on the social interactions lessons, joining conversations, the chit chat lessons, which were a fan favorite. They started to think of Ayana as a friend of theirs. And working on how to sit in a classroom and raise hands. So while we were working on one of the cafeteria-based lessons about joining in on a conversation, a student of mine who I had been teaching for almost 5 years and knew incredibly well, very little about this kiddo surprised me, asked me a question that did surprise me. And he said, "Hey, Heidi, how do I sit in the tables at the cafeteria? I don't understand." And I've been teaching for almost a decade with a specific focus on this cohort of learners bridging the gap between us and a more typical setting. And I had never thought to explicitly teach how you slide into one of those little benches attached to a cafeteria table. So through Floreo, the student was not only able to increase his social understanding of behavior in that setting, but also prompted us to do a real life visit to the cafeteria in our co-located schools to practice sliding into that table together. And I genuinely don't know that that would have dawned on me without those Floreo lessons, because we don't have a cafeteria at our school. We all eat, the 8 students at a group table in my classroom. So that was really funny. And now I have a little something in the back of my brain for the next time kids have to go to a cafeteria. With the same students, we also were working on raising your hand in a lesson. And the student specifically who loved this lesson was thrilled because you could raise your hand to answer questions about the solar system, which was his absolute passion. He actually asked us to call him Earth most days of the summer. So not only did he learn how to raise his hand in Floreo and to tolerate not being called on, because that was one of the hardest things. If he'd be like, "Okay, I raised my hand. Hello, call on me. I know the answer." But to learn that more nuanced skill of even though you raised your hand, even though you know the answer, you might not get called on. And that conditional understanding was really challenging. But through Floreo over the course of the summer, I saw an increase in him raising his hand throughout the day, in tolerating other kids getting to answer, and even kind of self-regulation, calming himself if he didn't get called on and saying, okay, it's okay. Maybe they'll call on me next time. And those self-regulation skills have set him up for more success in his school, which his mom has actually shared with me is going really well, which is why I do what I do. So one more student I want to share about is one of my current students, who's a 9-year-old girl who loves to chat with her teachers, but has historically been less excited to talk to other students, or communicates in a way that's just less understandable or easy to follow for other kiddos here or novel adults who just aren't as familiar with her and how she talks or what her sentence structure means. So she's new to my reduced ratio classroom and is also preparing for a hopeful transition. So this is a year of transition boot camp for her. And I use Floreo to focus on only social interactions pretty much with her, joining conversations, talking in the hallway, understanding facial expressions, all of that. When I put Talk to Ayana, which I've mentioned so many times, it's really my favorite lesson. It's incredible. On our session schedule, her face lights up and she asks me, what are we going to talk about with Ayana today? And every single time we use Floreo, I see an expansion of her language. So she's consistently using more complex language with teachers, with students, and with Ayana in the virtual setting. And while we, of course, still see some aversion to certain social interactions or classmates, we're also seeing progress. And her mom has actually also shared with me that little by little, they're seeing the same type of progress at home and in the community. For example, she just started participating in a confirmation type class at her church to prepare for baptism, which is a huge milestone for this family and something they've wanted. And because of her social deficits, she has not been able to participate in something like that with other kids before. So it's really unlocked a new level of social interaction for her. And Floreo has really just been the icing on the cake of my social skills groups to teach in a way that I just can't, but I can coach with them. So I really can't say enough how cool it's been to be a part of this and how grateful I am to Floreo. They've always been answering our questions and making modifications if something wasn't working. And I'm really excited to just keep enhancing my social skills lessons and seeing what more they come out with, because it's been a really cool thing. So thank you to Floreo and thank you for having me today.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Heidi. Um, I want to, before we move from Heidi, acknowledge two organizations that have also helped make the deployment into Floreo successful. The Disability Opportunity Fund, whose generous support helped fund the deployment, and Meta, whose headset donations are available to schools across the US that use Floreo. So if you're affiliated with the school wanting to look at whether Floreo is right for you, as part of discussing Floreo, we're able to donate VR headsets that Meta has donated to us as part of that. So a really great addition to offering Floreo. I see the questions coming in to the Q&A. Please keep them coming. I'm going to go through a few of those right now before we introduce our next speaker. So the first question is, how can I get my 11-year-old's clinic to adopt Floreo? We love talking to clinics, so you can introduce us. You can introduce the Floreo website to them, floreovr.com. From the website, there is a form that allows a person from Floreo to reach out and be able to provide a demonstration and talk to them. So we are ready to talk to any clinic out there to see whether Floreo could be a good solution. And we love introductions. You know, parents are the engine of the product. We have Medicaid waiver approvals in 5 states, largely because of the advocacy of parents. And so clinics and schools, same thing. If you're trying to see who's using Floreo near you, including your school, you can go to the Floreo website, and there's an option there called Floreo Near You or Near Me. And you can actually pump in your address or zip code, and you'll get a list of business, basically healthcare providers and schools that are using Floreo in your proximity, so you can check that out. Floreo is great for IEPs. So if an IEP is looking to address a specific skill, advocating to a school to add that Floreo is part of the strategy to address it is a great way to then help the school justify the expense of adopting the technology and teaching them how to do that. We're actually working on some exciting new features to also help take describe challenges and be able to efficiently list out which lessons could be beneficial to go into that IEP. So stay tuned on that. And that capability actually uses AI, and we have 5 years of data now on which Floreo coaches use which Floreo lessons with which kids. So we have a sense of where we're most useful and in what situations. And so we're starting to bring that to the fore using some of the latest advances in AI. First thing when I started building Floreo was a concern that sensory sensitive kids would not want to wear the headset. So we commonly hear this question that was asked that will someone wear the headset? We have a half dozen acclimatization strategies that we help teach customers to help them with putting the headset on, getting used to the environment, understanding what's happening. It's something we're really good at. And so, what we've seen is that in the research, 5 to 10% of the kids will have a lot of issues. Most kids will not. Some might have initial issues, but those are quickly remediated. I mean, the reality is that once the kids know their screen's in there, they get pretty amicable to it. Floreo's used in kids 5 and above, and we're used with high school and college students, depending on, we do have job skills content, we do have independent living content, and Floreo's available internationally. Right now it's available in English and Arabic, and we are exploring new languages. This next question is longer, so I'm going to actually hand off to our next speaker, and I'll take the next question from Laura in between the two next speakers. I'm really excited to introduce Misha Rahman, who's the owner of the Children's Language Center in Houston, Texas. She's also a licensed speech language pathologist. She's been a longtime Floreo user, started during the pandemic, and really excited to have all of you hear from her.
I am happy to be here, and I love Florello. I think definitely as a business owner and a therapist, I definitely think I came to Florello really trying to see how could I keep everything going in the pandemic, because everything just literally stopped, right? And we all know that. Florello was the engine, the curiosity of it was like, I think this could keep everything going. And it actually did, far more than I'd imagined. It actually, I think, when parents weren't coming in, and we were able to do it distance-wise, it actually motivated parents to start coming into the clinic before with health precautions that we created. It made them want to come in more. And so that was good. So I think we were one of the only in-person clinics in the city of Houston that was working throughout the pandemic. And I really want to thank Florello for that. But I digress. Let me introduce myself. Again, I am Misha, and I'm the proud owner of the Children's Language Center. We are in the south side of Houston, about 5 miles from the great internationally known health medical center, and 90 to 95% of our population are Medicaid. And we spend most of our days with babies that most of our patients are 2. So I really enjoyed listening to the previous speaker. So we work with the babies before they get to her. And so we're with children that parents may not have a diagnosis. You're late talkers, various reasons for language delay, as well as we do work with school-age children with articulation, fluency, stuttering, and things like that. But most of our day are with children that are nonverbal and are pre-diagnoses and may have a lot of sensory integration concerns. And parents are really looking for answers, affirmation, and they want their children to be affirmed positively and not judged. No one wants, it's so scary. And it's very scary, parents having a child that you see is not developing. And it's already scary if your family has comments, let alone a doctor, let alone you got to go to another therapy. And you have to hear that. The first sessions, and the child is in their own, they're not affected, but you see the deflatedness in parents. You see that this whole loss of a dream for my child is there. And I'm so happy with Floreo just like knocks that out. After a while, we get to know each other. I think my approach is a part of that. I'm a proud parent of a neurodiverse child, so we can have tea and coffee over our problems together. But we work with this headset with some of our youngest children, right? After we get going and what have you. And I think Vijay said someone asked about how its children put these headsets on. I just kind of want to have a lot of suggestions and a lot of things I use. So a lot of babies, of course, they will not put this over their head. No way, no how. A lot of kids, they're not getting a haircut. They're not combing their hair. They're just, thank God my kids are cute because they will not let you comb their hair, okay? So we just kind of mama or daddy. I usually say one word, mama, daddy. It just takes care of the whole family. But they just hold this over their head like this. And we do it like hand over hand. So you help a kid learn how to write. You do that, and it helps them like gain attention and not have that fear. And we usually sit them, the youngest ones will sit in the parent's lap. And that's how we get started. I like the system, and we talk about a family approach to care, is because I have my issues with technology and my kids because I'm trying to take them out of a bubble of technology that puts them in a bubble. This allows the parent to be in the activity with the child, right? So unlike the school setting, we're here, the family is in the session with us. So on the iPad, they're able to see what the child is seeing. So let's say we're an older kid and they're not looking, they say, hey, turn. So it becomes a whole family thing of turn your head, turn your head. She's pointing over here. She's pointing over here. Go past the elephant. And it becomes a we instead of a me, which is really what I'm after. I'm after, and that goes beyond autism diagnosis. I really want that family to be more affirmed and just have these experiences that families don't get. They don't get this experience of joy and laughter and seeing their children happy. And that's the bottom line. Kids are happier doing this. Let me go into, I could talk all day. Let me try to stay on point. Beyond autism, no, let me just stay on autism for a moment, because just today, I have a baby. No, she's not a baby. She's not a baby. She's 8 years old. Can you tell by what it looked like this? We've been working. And we just started working a year ago. She got the best abuela in the world. And I know other people may have one, but my baby got the best. And she's never had services before this. And she goes to school, and they said she was nonverbal. Had all these kind of behaviors when we got started. It was a challenge. She stops. We start hearing vocalizations. we start hearing sounds from someone who is described clinically as nonverbal. Eventually, this has motivated a child who has been described as nonverbal, whose negative behaviors were covering up her ability to do so much. So while she may not be speaking, we found out this girl could read and write. We put on a chalkboard, she can spell out words. So how do we start every session? Let's get regulated, mama. Come on, let's get regulated. So today, she's 8, and we're females. I don't know if y'all have an 8-year-old female. But today, and we're in Houston, she went to a snowy place. And I never did snow with her. She stopped and paid attention to the snow. The snow calmed her down. I was like, oh my gosh, we may be staying in snow for a while. She was looking at the trees. She calmed down. She actually started paying and following my directions. I was like, oh wow, we're having a good day. Oh, I love you. And so we like had a good day. So thank you, Florella. Um, I have another patient who came to me in the pandemic, and he had immense echolalia. Whew. Now he is reading on level. The echolalia may come up, but is not there. This Saturday, he went grocery shopping in Floreo, and his mom was able to be there in the session. It was so good. She said, read your grocery list, read the shopping list. So it's a whole thing. And so we have to like work on not screaming so much so his echolalia doesn't come back out. But he did start reading the shopping list because mama started screaming, look at the shopping list, because again, it's a whole community event, which is the answer to autism. We are doing this together. It is all love. Everyone loves you. Even the energy in the read the shopping list, we love you. But he did that. He did so well. We were so proud. He got up to where he was like shopping and perusing on the aisles from a field of like 5, I think. And we're so proud. We're so proud. We're so excited to do it again Saturday when we see him again. Beyond autism, I use Floreo still. So I have my straight A students who have stuttering. Why would I use Floreo? Because they can go into this relaxing cave and they can relax and they can breathe and they just go into this cave and they just relax, and it helps all these like structures relax. And so when we come out of that and we start going, okay, where are we feeling tension when you make that sound? Can you pull out? We can do stuttering therapy better. So beyond autism, now I know there's so for that, but beyond autism, that I have students who just need regular language support. Like middle school kids' behavior. Let's have a conversation. Let's try to have a conversation. Okay. Let's hold off the attitude and let's have a conversation. And then this helps with communication skills, just basic communication, basic pragmatics. And then you find out parents are saying, wow, he's talking to me. He actually asked me how I'm doing. I noticed in the chat, someone talked about later diagnoses, like when you're later diagnosed with autism. I don't know if that question was meant for just adults, but I do have an experience of a brilliant young man. He's brilliant. I think all my people are brilliant, but okay. But he was 12, very high, very smart, had some behaviors that were kind of quirky, very, very highly verbal, and had just been diagnosed with autism. I asked him, well, how you feeling about that? And he said, well, I'm really happy about it because I knew there was something going on. Like I would go to church, I would like my siblings. There was something different about me. And at least now I know what it is. And I can tell people, hey, if I do something, I can tell you why I'm doing it. And I was like, wow, that's so refreshing. with Florillo, what did we do with Florillo? We really worked on having conversations. So much so that he went to his occupational therapist and he says, "Hi, how are you?" And she was like, "Oh my God, I'm fine." He said, "You're having a good day?" And she said, "Yeah." She said, "Oh, I'm so happy." He said, "My speech therapist and I are working on me like asking people how they're doing." I said, "Can you not do that part? Can you just not just let it flow?" But he really did start. He got to where he was going to church and giving public speaking. Um, this is huge. It's been a game changer in our community, and more so when you look at communities of color, um, we usually don't get opportunities to have the best of uh, devices and things coming to us, and this is a game changer. Parents have um, just they're much they're they're engaged, and they feel like they're really getting quality care, and their child is not getting less than anybody because they're on Medicaid. And I really appreciate it. And I am, so if anybody has any questions, you definitely can reach out to me. BJ and the team know how to reach me, and I could talk forever, but I love the product and I love what it does for my children.
We're so grateful, Misha. Thank you so much for all those descriptions. And like I said, she's an OG user from way back now. We're so lucky to have her as a customer and partner. She addressed to a degree Laura's question about Floreo for older individuals, late identified. I'll just add that Floreo has a lot of content such as law enforcement encounters, grocery store shopping, bullying, complex topics. And so definitely check out the catalog with respect to that. We also have some exciting new capabilities next year coming out around executive functions such as processing speed, working memory, impulse control. We're just finishing up an NIH-sponsored study that we're going to be excited to share with folks. So stay tuned there. Just going quickly through the questions. Floreo is available for home use now. You can get a software license through the Floreo website. You can download the app through the iOS App Store, or if you have a Meta Quest headset, we can help you get set up on those. The big challenge for parents is figuring out what the right lessons are. And what the right frequency. We are excited about the states that have approved Floreo under Medicaid waiver or self-directed funds, because those often also open up parent training sessions that either Floreo or other providers can do. So that can be really helpful. But yeah, we definitely aim to provide extra superpowers to parents. And in some of the new reimbursement codes coming out next year, providers can potentially reimburse for, once Floreo is FDA cleared, Floreo for use in the home, and be reimbursed for the parent training sessions through new codes. So that's also great. The Floreo lessons that, to the next question, are most impactful really depend on the learner. So the most popular are our conversational and conversational skill building lessons, because you're able to interact peer to peer with other virtual kids, and so it has some advantages there. And then for those asking about international usage, the software is available. You'll have to procure your own hardware. We can help you find the right hardware if it's not obvious to you. But generally speaking, we use headsets like MetaQuest or the iPhone and these inexpensive plastic headsets. So I'm really excited to introduce our next speaker. Margaret Stewart is a parent in Alabama using this at home. So to the question that was answered, you're going to hear from someone who's doing that just right now. So Margaret?
Hi, thank you for having me today. As Vijay mentioned, I'm a parent. I have a daughter who's 25 years old, and she is also on the autism spectrum. She has multiple disabilities, but we learned about Floreo through a webinar that I attended, and I was excited to try it. I was a little skeptical at first, and some of that was around the sensory issues with the headset I was concerned about, but and then about her attending to the lessons. We'd never done much as far as a virtual reality, and I definitely didn't have a lot of experience with it in this realm. To tell a little bit about our background, I was working as an engineer when she was born, and in the area where we live, there aren't a lot of resources as far as services can be difficult to come by. We initially lived in a very rural area, and we moved our family to a more urban area to be able to receive some of the services we knew she needed. But eventually, I made the decision to stay home and work on coordinating a lot of the services. Just like I had used my project management skills in the work setting, I threw all of that into creating a team around her to help her get all the resources that she would need to help her reach all the goals that she had. When we started out, I had a whole room in our house where we did the little Velcro schedules and all of that stuff. We were doing all of that on our own. I wrote social stories, and we videoed our friends and family and tried to do all this, I would say, old school. And it took, I can't even explain how many hours we spent developing all that, as you can imagine. And as technology has come along, it's gotten a little bit easier, but you have your own library of all these things just for your one family member. And so when we received Floreo and had an opportunity to look at some of the content, I was just overwhelmed at how it was like someone had seen all of our history and knew what we had been working on and what we needed. And it was took it to an entirely new level. I was just thrilled at the idea of not having to try to create all that content for one thing, and that hopeful at how she would engage with it. When we first started out, they had suggested to us to try wearing the headset for about 7 minutes, and it quickly grew from that at first. And what we learned also is if you go on their website, there's a lesson library where you can look through that. And even as a parent, I can go in there and lesson plan. And I have a support, the support people on her care team also is very engaged. We are just super fortunate at how supportive she is. And she and I work together to go in there, and she's also scoured the library for what she thinks would be the most engaging and beneficial for my daughter, and makes up lesson plans and for the time that they work on that. Having a set time of day that they work on it, as far as doing this in the home, has also been very beneficial. It's something that she looks forward to. She works part-time, and so we look at what she does in her work world, so to speak, and different skills that would benefit her there, and we pull from the lesson library for that. One of the initial lessons that really grabbed my attention was because part of her work involves her going out in the community. I wanted to make sure that she, although we'd spent a lot of time practicing crossing the street and doing things like that safely, there were lessons on practicing that within Floreo, and she was very interested in those. There were also lessons on interacting with police officers and other people in the community. And prior to that, she might not make eye contact or stay in one place while she was interacting with people. So our family was concerned about her being able to navigate that successfully, and she's been very engaged and interested in those programs. And one of the things that I was really pleased about was her support person had the idea that after she worked on those lessons in Floreo, to go somewhere in our community that was a similar setting and try those skills out to see how she was generalizing them. And we were so pleased to see how excited she was. And she even remarked in one of those settings, it's just like being in Floreo. And so using the crossing signals and things like that. One of the things I had questions about initially was getting her to wear the headset. And I think some of our other speakers have mentioned that. And everyone at Floreo was super helpful. When we had issues and reached out, they helped guide us on trying out different headsets until we found out what worked. And then later on, we were able to get a Quest headset. And Heather with Floreo had this incredible suggestion of this extension. So I thought I'd do that for a little show and tell. This has been a huge game changer because it's so much more comfortable. And since you have to move around or you don't have to, but some of the activities you can move around with, having something that she felt it was secure on her head and comfortable gave her more confidence for moving around. Initially, we started with my swivel desk chair, and that way she was able to turn in all directions for some of the activities, but still be seated. But now she's getting comfortable standing up, and she also really loves. It's been curious to me what she would be the most fascinated with as far as the different lessons, and some that are her very favorites are the yoga exercises. And she now is just looks forward to those and asks for those to be included. And after she's worked all morning, it's a way for her to relax as well as get prepared to engage in the more demanding skills that she's going to practice. She also loves the sensory activities. And one of the first activities that she became interested in was one that was called Cloud Conversations. And when she was younger, we used to take a lot of road trips, and we would do this as a family. And her younger brother, we'd say, "Oh, what do you see in the clouds?" And she would be there with us, but never participated. And so it was very surprising to me that that was one of her choices in the program. And shortly after doing that for a couple of weeks, we were on a road trip, and she looked out and she goes, "Look, I see a rabbit up in the clouds. What do you see?" And she just generalized everything that she had done in the program. And that's always a question I have as a parent when I'm working or taking her to a therapy or some sort of intervention that we have spent a lot of time planning out and devoting her time to. Is she going to generalize this into her natural environment? And to see that was so encouraging to me. Let's see. Everyone's been so great. I feel like I'm just going to keep going on the same topics they were. So I'm trying to think of some of the other things that we've benefited from.
Margaret, thank you so much.
Yep.
It's, I think for folks, especially folks asking about at-home usage, as you can see, inspiring parents like Margaret make it happen. All of you out here, if you're attending, it's because you're trying to do the best you can for your kids. And it's so inspirational to meet so many parents along the journey of trying to build Floreo for everyone. I know we have limited time. I want to introduce Shirley Mac-Parisi, our Director of Clinical Operations. She's leading our FDA trial and the prior research, and is going to share some of that with y'all.
Awesome, thank you. And Multiple will be sharing a screen, and it looks like it's up there. So next slide, please. I'm going to keep it short because thanks to our users, that was pretty amazing insights that they gave us. It sort of like makes my life a little bit easier, but I still have to show how this product works. And I want to do this through clinical research. We have guidelines and laws that we have to follow to make sure that the product is safe and effective. So there are many different types of studies, but the gold standard is randomized controlled trials. And we're going to use a system to assign if a participant has Floreo treatment or control group. And this reduces the bias in the data. And the data that we can also gather, we can use for payer adoptions, and that's a different journey than the FDA pathway. And what you see here is pretty much how the FDA pathway goes. We usually start small, we get bigger, and then it goes out into the real world where people can use at home, and the data collection doesn't stop. Next slide, please. So the FDA has a level of hierarchy when it comes to confirming the response to treatment. As we heard, there are little stories, case studies that are happening, but they want to be able to see how it actually impacts the families. So the hierarchy here is that the FDA really enjoys the objective clinical data, such as blood tests and heart rates, because those can't be faked. Then they look at the subjective data, which is conducted by clinicians. These clinicians are highly trained individuals that look at specific things. And then last are the patient caregiver reported outcomes, also known as PROs. And that's what we're actually using. Our validated measure right now, it is the AIM tool. There are other autism tools like the AFLs or the CARS and ADOS, but for specific R needs, AIM was the best fit for us to look at to measure the improvement of the ASD symptoms. So we at Floreo are looking to create an objective and validated tool within our system. Next slide, please. I'll go really quickly. This is a peek from our feasibility study. So this is the data that supported that FDA breakthrough designation and entry into the TAP program. So this helped us look at the design and figure out what's the most important. And this chart is something that we were able to collect. It's a pre and post AIM score. And when you're comparing the scores, we're looking for clinical improvement. And you can see here, this Floreo did really well, and this helped us power the next part of their study. So we're in the process of writing a publication, so please stay tuned. If I had that like and subscribe button, this is where I would tell you to do it. Next slide, please. So the feasibility really helped us learn so much about what we need to do for the next steps. So this is the pivotal study, the bigger study. Because we're in that BDD and TAP program with the FDA, we were able to design a study that not only goes through the FDA pathway, we're also looking at the payer adoption. So the first 12 weeks is strictly for the FDA to look at our safety and effectiveness. And then the crossover study is going to really help us with payer adoption because we're using the participant as their own control group. And we'll see if the lessons are actually teaching them the social skill goals that we're trying to teach. If you want to learn more, you can find us on the clinicaltrials.gov. As a PSA, it is a .gov and not .com because I've made that mistake before and you don't get to see what I actually want you to see. Next slide, please. These are current enrollment numbers, and they are hopefully always changing. If you happen to live near any of the sites that we're recruiting from, we could definitely use your help. As you can see in this chart, we are really close to our goal. So our goal is 100. We are we're looking forward to this. I know I'm going really fast. I'm really cognizant of our time. So I want to just thank you for your time. I'm going to leave you with this short video of the Floreo system. I'm just so truly grateful for Vijay and the Floreo team for creating this innovative tool for the families. And hopefully this will work.
Welcome, friend. Notice what is around you. All you have to do is look at the cloud and use your imagination. Look at us go.
Thank you, Shirley. Thank you to the multiple team. Let me hand it off to Kevin.
Yeah, this was amazing. So I know we're at time, and I'd planned on doing a wrap up, but I want to throw this out there. Vijay, I don't know if you've got something right now, but if you don't, I think we could do a quick like live Q&A, maybe for just like 10, 15 minutes. I understand if you have to jump, no hard feelings, but yeah, if there's any other questions, maybe we just do a quick live Q&A, and we kind of keep it going for a little bit.
I'm here as long as you guys need me.
Cool, let's do it. Um, I'm gonna monitor this. I think we've got a couple in here.
Yeah, yeah. For the question on the Floreo lesson library is available on the Floreo site. So again, floreovr.com. And then if you go to the Learning Center, there's a lesson library link, and that gives you an up-to-date full selection of all the Floreo content that you can peruse. And Floreo can be used with kids 4 and above. The FDA trial is for 5 to 18 years old. The feasibility study that Shirley presented research on was 4 to 10 years old. So, basically, it's just finding a good headset that fits. These plastic headsets that the iPhone goes into are really good for younger kids. They're lighter, so children who might not have as much neck strength can support it. And Floreo is available for parents today on the Floreo website. It's $69.99 per month as a subscription. For schools and clinics, there's different enterprise pricing for multi-learner subscriptions, monthly and annual. So, and then for US customers, there are some different types of hardware options. I mentioned for schools, we're able to donate Meta Quest 2 headsets that have been donated by Floreo to us generously. And there are some leasing options for iPhones and iPads for enterprise customers or annually subscribing customers. I see a question, how can we help you find more? Yeah, so, right now we're working closely with the autism therapy provider, Cortica, in the recruitment of that. So if you have contacts into California, Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Texas, I think are the main states where we're using the Cortica centers, let us know. We're primarily using the existing Cortica families to recruit from, but that might change in the future. And then, so obviously in Medicaid, every state has its own Medicaid. We have approvals through waiver programs today in 5 states. If you are interested in trying to use Medicaid or self-directed fund, waiver or self-directed fund benefits, please reach out to us. Parents are the best advocates to open the doors with Medicaid through service coordinators. So that's how we've gotten the approvals in several states. Finally, so we have one feature that we just released to customers this month where the character, we use voice recognition on the virtual reality headset, and we're using AI for the character so they can have very naturalistic back and forth conversations. We invite any existing Floreo customers to check it out. It's really cool. The character, we have a couple of different personas, and we're working on that AI technology because it's a natural for this community that kids and adults who are neurodiverse want more and more practice environments. There's also, we have some simulations on job interviewing that we're developing as well using AI. So we're really excited about that. And then we're also using AI around the idea that helping take something like, say, a paragraph from the neuropsych or an IEP and being able to evaluate which Floreo lessons are most appropriate for this given learner in this moment. And so that's something that you'll see for Floreo customers coming out really soon. And so for executive functioning, we have existing simulation-oriented therapy content for planning, organizing, flexibility, some impulse control, some focus in the current Floreo system. That's in the current style. The new product, so we've been building, partnering with NIH on something that's more like a daily exercise where the child can build up their working memory, processing speed, impulse control. Look for that sometime mid next year as an offering. we've just wrapped up our 30-child study and going over the results right now. So question was asked, what is the youngest age for your study? So for our study last year, it was 4 years old. For the pivotal trial, it's 5 years old. You have to be technically savvy to use Floreo. So Floreo is designed to be easy enough for a parent to use. As I alluded to earlier, and you saw Margaret's take on this, that probably the most challenging thing is coming up with the right schedule with your child and incorporating it into your workflow. And then the second piece is just understanding where your child's needs are and identifying which lessons make the most sense. So we often see parents rope in their care, someone in their care team to help with that small piece, and then they kind of off to the races. We're trying to build additional tools to also help, but it's designed for parents to be able to use, and I think parents that are focused on wanting to use it, if they can get over these other challenges of figuring out how to fit it into their already very busy, challenging lives, is probably the biggest challenge. We do not have driving instruction. It's something we get asked about. Vanderbilt University is working on some great driving instruction VR content, and we are partnering with that department. So we're going to try to figure out ways to bring it into Floreo. And I know they're trying to also figure out ways to commercialize what they've developed in research. So I think you'll see that. We did build, and we'll be at some point next year releasing with Easter Seal Southern California, riding in the car, which can be, especially for high support situations, can be a challenge. And so expect to see some content there. But yeah, no, I think there's a lot of scenarios around that, you know, including getting pulled over or being an offender bender and trying to learn how to handle those things that I think VR would be great for practicing. And then we had a question, how do you decide lessons to be built? I alluded to this earlier that people who use Floreo point us in the right direction of what needs to be built. So 95% of the catalog today has been built through people start using Floreo, they start to see where VR is powerful, and then they tell us what they want, and then we build it, knowing that it's going to help a large community. And as far as spreading the word, you know, I think we ask every family that if you think this is interesting technology, you know, please bring it up with your clinicians, your schools. You know, I think awareness, you know, we're still a small startup. We don't have a big marketing budget. And so to be able to get those, you know, introductions to that, as well as to Medicaid service coordinators for those of you who are on Medicaid, is great. Finally, as far as dating is high on the list of an ask, and so I would expect something in the next 12 months in this space. I know our team is really interested in this, and so we've been starting to build some designs around how to help with, you know, basically autonomy and consent and kind of the practicalities of dating in today's world. And so, yeah, so if you have ideas, send it to info@floreovr.com. And you know, like I said, we allow our customers to really lead us by the nose on what's needed. You're the ones, the parents and the clinicians and special educators are the ones doing the hard work on the front lines, working with our kids and adults to help them succeed. And so it's an honor for us to be helping support them. So thank you so much. We really appreciated the opportunity. Big thank yous to the Multiple team for hosting, to Margaret, Misha, and Heidi for their you know, really gripping accounts of how they're using Floreo in the field, and you know, can't thank everyone enough.
Yeah, thank you, Vijay. And I too want to echo what you just said. You know, Heidi, Misha, Margaret, thank you for being here and sharing your stories. I always leave these events feeling inspired, and it's a great reminder for why we do the work that we do. And so if you're interested in learning more about Floreo, it is floreovr.com, right, Vijay?
That's right.
Awesome. And we're going to be doing more events like this on multiple side. So look out, you know, for emails. We're going to try to do one every 2 months. But like I said, this is our way of giving you a glimpse into what's happening in the autism tech world, so you can get the best solutions for yourself, your loved ones, everyone that can be affected by this. If you want to get involved in what we're doing, you can reach out to me personally. It's just kevin@multiplehub.org. Or even easier, just use the contact form on our website. We do check it, I promise. And then, yeah, Dan, if you have any final words, we can close it out.
Really inspiring session, and much deeper dive, from the users was really fantastic to hear. Really great that you were able to bring everybody together. So I loved it, and I think the world needs to know more about the work of great companies. Yours is really right up there.
Thank you, Dan.
Wonderful. All right. Thank you, everybody. We really appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your day.